Hello everyone and welcome to episode 3 of the complete Dalek timeline. If you missed the previous 2 entries in the series, you can find a playlist for the series linked in the description below. After years of peace with the Daleks, the human race, they chill out a bit and halt their weapons development. This comes back to bite, however, as an artificial planet enters the solar system and poses a threat to humanity. Earth then, terrified by their lack of preparedness, consult with the Dalek Emperor and ask for assistance dealing with the mechanical planet. So, the human race arm the Daleks with appropriate weaponry and, after studying the planet for weaknesses, the Daleks destroy the artificial world, proceeding to warn the Earth and other planets that the Daleks, now rearmed, will be back to conquer them. It is also revealed that the mechanical planet was in fact constructed by the mechanoids, further prompting a war between the two species. The Daleks would then launch a space plague into the universe, affecting several species, such as humans. This plague had only one known cure: Perinium. Earth's supply of Perinium was dwindling fast though, so a human task force was sent out to the planet Exelon, where Perinium is very common. However, the Daleks catch wind of this and also send out a task force to Exelon in order to retrieve the Perinium and blackmail the Earth and the rest of the universe into submission. The Daleks would soon realise that the Exelon city disabled all power in their weapon systems, but managed to replace their gunsticks with machine guns and enslave the Exelons, forcing them to mine Perinium. With enough Perinium, the Daleks threatened to fire plague missiles that would kill the Exelons and other species. However, the Third Doctor and the human task force on Exelon managed to defeat the Daleks, keeping the Perinium for themselves. With the Daleks now weakening the universe and their time travel capabilities now solidified, the Daleks partnered with Guardian of the Solar System, Mavic Chen. Under the rule of the Black Dalek, who previously escaped the events of The Chase, the Daleks plan to destroy the solar system using a device called the Time Destructor. The Daleks and Mavic Chen are then aided in their efforts by delegates representing 7 other planets in one big alliance. The Daleks set their plan in motion, only to be quickly discovered by the First Doctor and his companions Stephen and Katerina. They are also aided by Brett Vian, a space security agent. The Doctor and co make an attempt to go to Earth and warn the humans of the Daleks' master plan, but upon discovering the Doctor, the Daleks pursue them throughout the universe, eventually resulting in the death of companion Katerina. Arriving on Earth, the Doctor, Stephen and Brett try and get help, however they are noticed by Mavic Chen, who orders security agent Sarah Kingdom to execute them. She succeeds in executing Brett, who is soon revealed to be her brother. In a freak accident, Sarah, the Doctor and Stephen are then transported by Dalek technology to the planet Myra, where Sarah is reluctantly forced to work with the pair despite objecting to their accusations of Chen. Fortunately, Sarah witnesses Chen in alliance with the Daleks as they try to recover an element known as Terranium from the Doctor, which will be used to power their destructor. The Doctor then escapes in the TARDIS and the Daleks are quick to pursue with their own time machine. Along the time tracks, the meddling monk encounters the Doctor and also follows him through the vortex, ending up in ancient Egypt. The monk forms a partnership with the Daleks due to his own hatred of the Doctor, though these Daleks are not aware of the monk or the Time Lords yet, due to the Daleks that did being destroyed on Earth by Lucy Miller. The monk and the Daleks then work together to track down the Doctor, but only manage to find his companions, Stephen and Sarah. The Daleks take the pair hostage, as well as the monk, and Mavic Chen, who locates the Doctor, organises a trade of the Terranium for the trio. If he does not comply, they will all be exterminated. The Doctor hands over the Terranium and flees with Stephen and Sarah, stealing the monk's directional unit, rendering the monk's TARDIS aimless. The trio then arrive on Kemble, where the Daleks' base of operations is. The Daleks too return to Kemble and install the Terranium into the Time Destructor. The solar system is now theirs to do with as they please. Chen, now outliving his usefulness, is exterminated by the Daleks, which presents an ample distraction for the Doctor to retrieve the Time Destructor. And, before the Daleks have had chance to refine the device, the Doctor activates it. Stephen manages to reach the TARDIS and hide in safety, but Sarah and the Doctor struggle through the jungles of Kemble, weighed down by the Time Destructor. Sarah is then rapidly aged to death by the device, becoming nothing but dust in a matter of minutes, while the planet itself dies out, becoming nothing more than a wasteland. Stephen rushes out and aids the Doctor back to the TARDIS, leaving the Destructor to complete its devastation of Kemble and reduce the Daleks to nothing but dust, finally bringing an end to the Black Supreme Dalek. Eventually, the Time Destructor ages itself to death, meaning the universe is no longer in danger, and reflecting on the losses the pair have suffered, Stephen and the Doctor travel on, riding on the small high of defeating the Daleks. Even more bad news for the Daleks as, 100 years after their failure on Kemble, the space plague has begun to take its toll on them, forcing them to return to Exelon. The Daleks then reprogrammed an android that was part of the anti-Dalek force called Mark 7, using him to steal Prydonian from the humans. However, the fourth Doctor managed to erase the Dalek Protocol that was installed into Mark, and the pair of them, with the help of Anya Kingdom, niece of Sarah Kingdom, stopped the Daleks on Exelon. The Emperor Dalek then becomes obsessed with obtaining the essence of humanity, the human factor. Perhaps this is because of humanity's ability to continuously survive when faced with adversity, especially now the space plague was ravaging the Daleks and the humans were combating the illness with ease. The Emperor initiated Operation Human Factor, where he and the remainder of his Daleks would manipulate the second Doctor to isolate and identify the essence of humanity, something the Emperor claimed would make the Daleks invincible. However, the Doctor had been deceived. Upon obtaining the human factor, this merely allowed the Emperor to identify the Dalek factor by contrast. The Emperor had then planned to transfer the Dalek factor throughout history, meaning that the Daleks would have never lost the war with the humans, but the second Doctor was too clever for the Daleks. After transferring the human factor into 3 Daleks, who would be named Alpha, Beta and Omega by the Doctor, the human factor would spread throughout the remaining Daleks on Skaro, causing the first Dalek civil war in a battle over purity. This battle resulted in the total extermination of the Dalek race, with no survivors. Except for the Emperor, who survived with extreme injuries, but nevertheless, he was alive. Following the events of the War Games, the second Doctor is recruited by the Time Lords for a mysterious purpose. This results in the Doctor being sent to Skaro, where he witnesses a broken and frozen Dalek city. A Time Lord by the name of Raven reveals that the Doctor has been extracted from his timeline a quantum second before his regeneration, in order to exact missions for the Celestial Intervention Agency. Raven then explains that the Dalek civil war that the Doctor caused resulted in history being damaged and Skaro falling out of time. However, Skaro has returned 300 years later for reasons unbeknownst to the Time Lords, and the Doctor is sent to investigate, alongside 2 humans, Silas and Katrona. The Doctor soon finds that the Daleks are unable to kill him due to time being out of sync. However, the Dalek factor does begin to affect Katrona, slowly mutating them into that of a Dalek. Venturing into the city, the Doctor discovers the empty casing of the Emperor Dalek. He also discovers a delirious Time Lord, Celestine, in the Emperor's chambers, and both of them are extracted by the Time Lords. This storyline will most likely be expanded on in Big Finish's series Beyond the War Games, but for now it remains incomplete. The return of the Daleks was not a major surprise to the Doctor though, as earlier on in the second Doctor's timeline, him, Jamie and Victoria land on an unnamed, peaceful planet, only to discover that the Daleks too have crashed here. The TARDIS team discover that the 3 Dalek survivors are attempting to construct a beacon in order to signal for help, a device that the Doctor and Jamie begin to sabotage, scaring the Daleks away from firing at the pair for fear that they destroy the beacon. The Doctor remarks that he had hoped the Daleks had finally been vanquished, with the Daleks informing him that though the humanised Daleks have been exterminated, the Emperor still reigns supreme over a small number of Daleks. The Doctor, hell-bent on finishing what he started, redirects the beacon to fry the Dalek circuitry, killing them with intense agony. These Daleks couldn't have been more wrong though, as a few Daleks infected with the human factor escaped the massacre on Skaro, and they were discovered by the 8th Doctor on Kyrol, one of the Daleks being Dalek Alpha, a Dalek named by the 2nd Doctor in Evil of the Daleks. The human Daleks developed a unique culture, full of art and psychic exercises. The 8th Doctor observed the behaviour of these Daleks and genuinely considered the possibility of good Daleks existing, but was unable to finish his observations as a psychic parasite drove the human Daleks to suicide. Indeed, the humanised Daleks were now all dead. The Emperor Dalek would then go on to rebuild his numbers, slowly but surely, and made sure to instill the importance of complete Dalek purity into his new line of Daleks. This was never more obvious than when the Daleks received a signal from human scientist Martez, who claimed to have created his own new race of Daleks, created with DNA extracts from a crashed ship. The Emperor's Daleks then land to meet Martez and his batch of Daleks on the planet Red Rocket Rising, but immediately engage in a civil war, deeming Martez's Daleks impure. The two factions of Daleks annihilate each other though, proving that the Emperor has a long way to go in restoring Daleks to their former glory. With Skaro now returned to the main timeline, renegade Time Lord Shazar aids the Daleks in replicating TARDIS technology. Shazar's presence also ensures that the Daleks are completely aware of the Time Lords, having previously encountered the meddling monk, Celestin, and obviously the Doctor. The 4th Doctor, along with a few other Time Lords, stop Shazar from sharing the secret to TARDIS construction with the Daleks, but the Daleks retain the information needed to refine their time travel devices once again and set out among the stars. The Daleks, now utilising Time Lord concepts, construct computer systems of logic that reinforce the Emperor's goals. This would later prove to be a hindrance to the Daleks, as a logic-based system would make their schemes too predictable. The Daleks travel back to Earth in 1987 with the intention of creating a new Dalek paradigm, the Dominion over the universe's economy, a plan mapped out by the Daleks' supercomputer. The Emperor refers to war as inefficient and intends to have a hold over humanity by utilising them as a workforce. The Daleks even attempt to market themselves by constructing a Dalek-shaped skyscraper which would later be moved to Skaro. Most of the Daleks struggle to restrain themselves from killing any potential investors though, proving to the Emperor that conquest and invasion was still the Dalek way. The financial paradigm would later be adapted into the Parliament of the Daleks, a far more political subsection of Dalek society. Of course, the 7th Doctor intervenes with the Dalek plan to overtake the universal market, sending the Emperor back to the drawing board. Shortly after this, the Daleks would enter into a new war with a robotic race known as the Movellans. Quite how the war started isn't documented very precisely, but the further exploits of the war definitely are. A few centuries into the war, the Daleks attempt to wipe out both Movellans and humans with a giant bomb. This plan is thwarted and the Movellans plan a huge retaliation. Losing faith in their battle computer and at a stalemate in the war, the Daleks venture back to Skaro in an attempt to uncover Davros, hoping his genius for war will give them the edge over the Movellans. The Daleks discover Davros underneath the surface of Skaro in a state of suspended animation. It turns out that Davros's extermination only damaged his life support system, kicking in the backup system, freezing Davros in a single moment for centuries. Upon inspecting the Dalek battle computer, Davros deduces that both Movellan and Dalek computers are locked in a logical stalemate, and that basic intuition is required to end it. The Movellans have come to the same conclusion though, and rely on the 4th Doctor and his Time Lord companion Romana to break the stalemate for them. Davros straps explosives to various Dalek units and plans to detonate them once the Daleks are on board the Movellan ship. However, the Doctor tricks Davros into detonating the explosives early, leaving the Movellans unscathed. Davros is then placed back into suspended animation by the Doctor and sent away, journeying to Earth, where he will stand trial for his crimes against the universe. That brings an end to part 3 of the complete Dalek timeline, but make sure to like, subscribe and turn notifications on so that you don't miss part 4.